doctoral program of Islamic Educational Psychology at Universitas Muhammadiyah, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. So this is one of the higher education under the organization called Muhammadiyah. We have around 176 universities and higher education institutions learning in Indonesia, across Indonesia. So Universitas Muhammadiyah is one of them, and we will have also four doctoral programs. One of them, among the oldest one, is a doctoral program in Islamic educational psychology. And yeah, this is probably the one and only doctoral program that integrate between the science of educational psychology, the science of psychology and education with Islamic studies, with Islamic values, with Islamic tradition. So this is the best place for all of you who are interested in both scientific tradition in educational psychology or in Islamic scholarly tradition as well, to study, to further pursue your doctoral degree. And so this is one of probably the only one in the world that combining or integrating between educational psychology and Islam. So you are welcome to join us, whether as collaborative researcher, if you are already lecturer somewhere in another university, but if you want to pursue as well a doctoral program or doctoral degree, you are welcome as well to join Islamic Educational Psychology in Universitas Muhammadiyah, Yogyakarta. Students are equipped with strong academic foundation and competence because we have expert in both educational psychology and Islamic studies in a respective field, supported by innovative curriculum, a design, excellent research tradition, warm and conducive academic climate. So doctoral program of Islamic educational psychology are given the space to forge, to develop themselves to the fullest. So we also provide full scholarship as well for international students. You can register through admission office because yeah, we have 6 international students currently, and all of them are funded by university. Also for the domestic students as well, for the national students as well, there are some opportunities for scholarship, whether from university or from the governmental offices like Minister of Religious Affairs, Minister of Education. They also provide because our accreditation status right now is Unggul. Unggul means excellence. So we are eligible to receive, our students are eligible to receive scholarship from both Ministry of Religious Affairs and from Ministry of Education as well. So in the end, it is hoped that the students who are learning here, they are competent enough, they become competent individuals in their fields, and also contribute positively to the development of the world of education, bringing benefit to the fellow human beings in general. So basically, there is the big profile of doctoral program of Islamic educational psychology in Universitas Muhammadiyah, Yogyakarta. We also provide, for example, in addition to the offline learning, in-person learning, but everybody are required to be residents at least 1 semester here in Yogyakarta. We also have like for international students what's so called as directed reading, semi research-based degree. If you are already pretty expert, pretty well versed in research, to do research, then you are welcome to also to register as international students, and we will have a special treatment, special course for international students as well to join us, to learn together, to grow together as scholar, as academics, inshallah. All right, without further ado, we'll proceed to our discussion. We will have, as I mentioned earlier, we will have 5 speakers. And for the first occasion, I would like to invite Professor Muhammad Sofyan. Is he already joining us here, Professor Muhammad Sofyan?
Yeah, Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you for joining us. You are right now in Sarawak
Kuching,
or
Sarawak. Yes, Kuching, Sarawak.
on Kuching, Sarawak. Okay. Inshallah, Professor Muhammad Sofyan, uh, he will be delivering a lecture on digital revolution and its psychological effects of human development. But let me introduce to all of you first, Professor Muhammad Sofyan is originally from Riau, Indonesia. Is that right? Pak
Yeah.
Sofyan, Alhamdulillah, and now is having career in a Faculty of Multidisciplinary and Sustainability Studies in ICADS University College, Kuching, Sarawak, Malaysia. Right. He has he pursue his education in Indonesia, both in Indonesia and Malaysia as well. He received his doctoral degree in 2017 in University Malaya Sarawak. There's a lot of publications, a lot of academic presentation, lectures, and speakers everywhere. But without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Muhammad Sofyan. Please, time is yours, Pak Sofyan.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My voice is okay. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right. Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to UMY, Yogyakarta Muhammadiyah University, especially to Islamic Educational Psychology Doctoral Program head by Mr. Dr. Muhammad Sifa Amin Widigdo.
Yeah.
He's invited me as a speaker in this international seminar. Actually, this is my few time in UMA in a direct contribution face-to-face when I invited as a guest lecture in School of Business with almarhum Prof. Siswoyo at that time. So I met also a few times with your director, Prof. Sri now. So I hope that he is well there. Okay, I think I just have 30 minutes here. So a bit short to discuss something that's quite given the impact to our society, especially in a psychology perspective. Even I'm not as a in a Islamic psychology mode, yeah, but I'm an experimentalist. I am an experimentalist psychologist, but most of the career now is as a lecturer. So I think as a psychologist, I believe that this theme of this seminar, recognizing psychological impacts of the digital revolution and contribution of religious coping, is very, very important to discuss and further sought to solve all the problem related to it. But I would like to mention also here that I want to focus on the well-beingness, not in terms of what happened if someone engaged with the digital device or digital activity, yeah, in terms of like get more depression, get more anxiety, yeah, get more sleep problem, and so on. Because there is already already found by the others researchers. Yeah. At the end of my presentation, I would like to share also our finding regarding the how the brain how the brain can given the effect because of the reaction to the zikir and also the reading the Al-Quran. Yeah. So I made this few research with my student in UNIMAS before, in University Malaysia Sarawak. Before I go to this university, ICAT University College, is the private university in Sarawak. I taught in at the University of Malaysia Sarawak. UNIMAS is a federal university. So now it's the state university in ICAT University College. Yeah, for information that maybe some of you, a few of you maybe have met me in MBA or maybe in other platform of interaction, because quite some also I have delivered my thoughts in University Muhammadiyah, especially in Purwokerto Muhammadiyah, University Muhammadiyah Pontianak also, and also University Muhammadiyah Malang, yeah, and not in University Muhammadiyah in Perlis, because we have the Perlis, yeah, in Perlis, right? University Muhammadiyah, one of the brands, yeah. One of my friends said that, Pak Fian, why you are not joining the Muhammadiyah? I said, okay, ladies and gentlemen, let I share my slide. Can I share it?
Okay. Mas Evan, can you put Pak Sofyan as a host so can yeah.
This is okay?
Good, perfect.
So my audio still going well?
It is.
All right. Yeah, the title is given to me, is related with the the effect of the digital revolution towards the human development, yeah, especially in the children and young adult or adolescents. Yeah. So I try to find some resources from from digital, from internet, and as I said before, that I will share with you in regarding the our research based on the student research. Eh? Okay, this is a bit front of my university. A very small university in ICAT in Kuching. Yeah? It's about 700 to 1,000 students only. Yeah? So have a few what's it called, faculty. Yeah? But we are going fast now. We are trying to be as a full university by 2026. And Sarawak, maybe all of you are not informed yet regarding the free education for the tertiary education. Yeah. So in this coming 2026, all the Sarawakian will have the free education, especially for technology. Yeah. So this is the very challenging for us because a lot of things that we have to prepare, especially to make them really prepare with the mentally free. Yeah, because mental free is different with if you are paid to do something. Yeah. So maybe we can discuss further about this. Okay. I would like to start with this data digital of the Malaysia. Yeah. As we see here that the increasing of the using the digital ways, digital device, or digital this one the device of the ownerships. So it's very much higher. Yeah, you see here that the mobile phone increasing the almost 98%. Yeah, smartphone. Yeah, almost same. Yeah, so even the laptop itself. Yeah. Increasing about 69%. Yeah? So all of this is very given the impact towards the behavior, towards the habit of the society in Malaysia especially. Yeah. So another statistic is about the daily time spent in internet. Yeah. You see, most of them is almost 8 hours. Yeah. So almost all the time of workings. Yeah. So all of them is all of us here in Malaysia are using the internet. So meaning to say that if the internet is shut down, so no one can do works here. Yeah. I don't know in Indonesia right now. Yeah, maybe still in the manual things. Yeah, but especially in like sort of bank or any organization that's very dependent to the computer. I don't think so that can works. Yeah. So the mobile phone is about 4 hours. Yeah. Then spend in the computer tablets 3 hours. So this is the situation that we face it in Malaysia. Yeah. So it's based on the data on January 2024. Yeah. This quite current. So when we go for the why the reason they are using the internet. Yeah. So most of them is about the finding information. Yeah. So looking for the information. Yeah. I think Indonesia also have this finding itself, something like more towards the Google is something, yeah, or searching, yeah, find anything, even if you want to find a recipe also, you just go to the internet right now, yeah, not only find the knowledge, yeah? Especially also for the woman, maybe, yeah, finding gossip is very much important. Okay, if you see researching how to do things is about 64%. Yeah? So the lowest is organizing day-to-day life. Yeah? So this is the component of the reasons, yeah, why the internet is very much demanding for this era, in Malaysia especially. So what is the social media? Yeah. So social media is still in the top one is about the WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is the highest use for this statistic in Malaysia. Yeah. And the second one is Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. And I'm not sure in Malaysia, Indonesia, but in Malaysia, since a lot of Chinese also here. Yeah. So WeChat is quite common use, 27%. Yeah. So I think compared with others, Facebook also now is not make the first the number one in using this social media. Okay, that's all for the statistic. Yeah. So let's see in terms of what is the digital revolution means. Yeah. I think all of us here quite understood and already know about this, yeah, but I just want to refer to what Katarina and Froso said regarding the digital revolutions, yeah, that started from 19th century, yeah, refer to the shift from the mechanical and analog electronic technology, yeah, to digital technologies, yeah, especially internet, yeah. So young people live increasingly mediated by digital technologies, yeah, used both at home and at school, yeah. So my kids, yeah, I still have a kids, yeah, in school at the high level. Kalau di sini here disebut as a sekolah menengah, ya. Sekolah menengah, same with the in Indonesia. So it's never left his gadget, yeah, his gadget, yeah. Only when they went to school, yeah, so they leave it in at home, yeah. Because in Malaysia, yeah, student cannot allow it, yeah, to bring the gadget. Yeah. So if the teacher found it, so they will keep it until the end of the semester. Yeah. So that's the situation in Malaysia for the school children. So the place of digital media in young people's lives has never been more prominent than during the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah. So I think this COVID-19 pandemic is making the digital revolution is much big impact to our life. Eh? So their life were abandoned and they turn to digital media for their education, for the entertainment, yeah, information, and social contact. Yeah. So I think we are understood that now all of us, yeah, all of us, I think more towards the very what's it called, make our brains not working well, you know. Yeah, we are so very dependent to the memory. Yeah, we are so very dependent to the hard disk, yeah, to the our flash disk, yeah. So if I forgot to bring our gadget or our handphone, it said, "Wow, mati aku," yeah. So seems like there's the nyawa, yeah. Okay, a bit short description about the digital revolution, yeah, starting in the 1950s. Yeah. So this is a digital revolution introduced a swell of new technology. Yeah. And around 1998, 1980s, internet and with the after mobile devices, yeah, social networking, big data, and computing clouds. Yeah. I think computing clouds now is very tremendously given the impact of our life. By the early 2000s, the digital revolution has grown exponentially, yeah, in many countries, yeah, especially in mobile phones, yeah, where's everywhere. Yeah. So as you said that, I said that when we go for the somewhere, so we forgot the phone, so we are so very panicked. Yeah. Okay, some research that I refer here is related to the decreasing of the psychological distress, yeah, and depression, and also suicidal thoughts. Yeah, not also suicidal thoughts. No, it's suicidal activities. Yeah, and actually here happen also in the adolescents, yeah, and young adult. Yeah, because of the rise of the social media use and lack of sleep. Yeah. So I just want to give the example is in my life, in my situation, in my family, you know. So my children is never slept before 12, you know. Yeah. So 12 midnight, not 12 afternoon. Yeah. So this is things that make them lack of sleep, lack of the good quality of sleep. Yeah. So as we know that the brain needs some rest, need time to rest. But Muhammad, give me the time. Maybe I'm not so just interrupt me.
Sure, sure.
Still have
around
how many
10, 15 minutes. Yeah.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Another research found by Hawke, there is a psychological problems, as I mentioned before, a lot of psychologists, a lot of researchers found that the digital era give the depression, anxiety, and sleep disorder more, compared with the other situation. Yeah. So in terms of motor skill, so this is quite interesting actually, because one of the researchers found that this effect on the motor skill is related with the process of the how often the people touch the screen, touch the screen. Because when we are touching the screen, there is the sensor, the nerve in our finger can make a more habituation, more sensitive. So the more neurotransmitter will transfer there, is make us more sensitive towards the touching system. They call it in the somatosensoric system. So here the Gomez said that one aspect of we will consider digital media use is the effect on language. This is the psychomotor. It's the motoric aspect and cognition. Cognition in terms of aspect of the memory. Short-term memory and long-term memory. And also the perception of the visual object in developing of brain. This is actually the positive things, the positive thing of the effect of engagement to the device. So another thing is about the empathy. So empathy studies in young adults, correlation between time spent and digital media, a lower cognitive empathy. As I said, I don't want to touch the negative thing in terms of this, but here we can also see that when the young people engage or spend their time more, so his empathy will be decreased. So that's why he cannot give something like a feeling, more deep feeling towards the others, because of his process of the decreasing of the empathy is goes every day. Goes every day. So in other ways, we have the process of the how we can do the digital treatment. This is related actually with the mental health problem. A lot of expert now related with this digital treatment, not only psychologists, not only psychiatrists, but any other field also. So now we have we will found so many websites given over the digital treatment process. So here one of the well-known website-based intervention is mentioned by Anderson. They're finding that this is the focus on numerous systematic review, that you call it the randomized control trial, this intervention. So maybe this one also can discuss with the how the mental health problem increase because of the more digital using our more device, using the device. So from this research, from this point of view, so there is a few finding about this. Number one is a direct-to-user digital treatment is popular and can use underserved groups. This is mentioned by Christensen. There is what you call it, mood gyms, free online intervention for the depression. And also the online clinics mentioned by Titov. A good example in Australia, there is a MindSpot. So you can go there and then we can see what they can give the treatment for this online system. And another one is mentioned by the Baumeister. Digital intervention are more effective than unsupported ones. This is a consistent finding, although depending on the context and the specific interventions, and the difference is not necessarily great. Meaning to say that this digital intervention also not really given the effect to treat the disorders. And another one, Anderson also said that when accompanied by support, digital intervention are as effective as face-to-face treatment. This one, I think, very good finding, because we can see that face-to-face can be as online system can be as a face-to-face effect because of this system that using the meta-analysis. All right. So what is the media? What is the effect of the aging brain? Ladies and gentlemen, my specialty is in the brain training. So a lot of my work is related with how to improve the brain activity using the EEG device. So in terms of this kind of situation, the effect and possible negative or positive aspect of the digital media use, culture and interaction might not only depend on total consumption time and the cognitive domain involved. It might also depend on the age. So what does it mean? Meaning that we are considered towards the which stage the persons in the age of the using the device, using the media. So not really because of the screen time, because there is also the the research related with the screen time towards the effect of the psychological problem. So I think we are lucky now. All of our gadget, all our handphone, so we have we can detect, we will know how many hours that we are in the screen time. Just click there. There is an application. Just click there. Then we know. How many hours we already on the screen time. Okay, this is a quite clinical. Use the MRI. How the impact of the digital towards our brain in terms of the reaction of the neurotransmitter towards our behavior itself. So I don't want to explain this one more. It is quite clinical. Then please refer to this note that I put there, yeah, on the journal pediatric, yeah, regarding the process of this, yeah. In my activity, in my research, yeah, related to the brain, so I'm using what they call it the brain mapping, yeah, brain mapping, but not using the MRI, yeah, because MRI is quite clinical, it's medical use, yeah. I'm using the MITSAR or quantitative EEG. We call it the quantitative EEG. Yeah, not using any medical things. Yeah, not using any medical thing. Yes, put the electrode here. Yeah, and the cap. Yeah, then we can scan with the. And at the end of this, I will show you the result of the brain mapping. Yeah, so this is the the explanation about this that figure. Yeah, so. Once again, it's quite clinical in terms of the brain itself. The brain, when we cut there, when we see in the different position, so we can see the different thing here. Yeah. So this I can see, I can read here this the association between screen-based media use and the brainwave meta integrity in the preschool age children. Yeah, so this one is preschool age children, the respondent. So another one is the in other different point of view. Yeah, in using also the MRI. Yeah, so I think ladies and gentlemen who in the situation of clinical or this clinical side maybe can understand about this situation of the brain. Okay, so okay, before I go to this conclusion, I just want to show you the things that related with brain in terms of sorry. This is quite interesting for me, and also for those who want to okay. So see, this is the finding, using the brain mapping, when we are when we are reciting zikir in Al-Quran and listening to zikir in Al-Quran, this is different situation of a brain reaction, So so what we found here is I just want to say this is in Bahasa, this is in Bahasa. What they found is, so there is a different significance, between the brainwave, between the brainwave dominant during the reading zikir and Al-Quran and reciting the zikir and Al-Quran, But there is no significant difference, between the dominant ilham, and reading zikir in Al-Quran and reciting the zikir in Al-Quran. So also there is a quite a different situation of the brain itself, regarding the location, in the frontal area, prefrontal cortex, and also the situation in other location, So based on the location itself, so there is something like some what's it called, the focus, in terms of location of the brain itself, in the frontal area, okay. In frontal, in location F4, F8, F7, So if I show you here, so this is the location that we can. Also, I cannot zoom in. So this is the location, the situation that if you see here, just a simple explanation. if the the color is so high, yeah, so not going to the black, yeah, going to the black here, so meaning that there is inactive brain, yeah, inactive brain. So meaning that we can see the active brain is happen during this reciting zikir compared to listening, yeah, compared to listening, yeah. So this is will given the effect to our psychological state, yeah. Okay. So I come to my conclusion, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, in terms of using the to understand the behavior, yeah. So behavior addiction are also classified as addictive behavior, yeah. So now we understood that a lot of addiction, right? Not only the substance, yeah, but in terms of any other situation that we call it the addiction, yeah. The WHO now include the internet use disorder or IUD or internet gaming disorder, yeah, or IGD, yeah, is in the ICD-10, ICD-11. Sorry, yeah. So this is the the reference book for the psychiatrists, yeah, to find out and to make the classification of the disorders, yeah, in behavior, yeah. So now include the smartphone use disorder, yeah. So meaning that we have three things that related with the disorder in the current digital era, yeah. And then the new technology will change the human cognition, yeah. This is no discussing anymore, yeah. So language skill, yeah, IQ, capacity of working memory, all these cognitive and motoric things will have the impact, and also the emotional processing in a social context. What I said before that related with the low empathy, yeah, low empathy toward the social because of the digital era, yeah. So at the end of this conclusion, that I will say that, yeah, all the expert in this region will this field say that the brain is affected by the way we use, yeah. Jadi kalau if make a brain lazy, so your behavior will be as a more towards the something that can be go down, because in brain theory, yeah, when you are not use your brain, yeah, so your neurotransmitter will die, yeah. So meaning to say that Dr. Siva, that we have to encourage, yeah, all the people, even they are going to pension, yeah, we are going to apa nama tu not going to work anymore, yeah, still have to do something with their brain. That's the important one. Okay, I think that's all from me. So thank you very much. And if you have any things that you want to discuss with me, please just drop your email to my email over there, and also my WhatsApp, yeah, because I'm so sorry, I have another meeting from after this. So maybe if I have a time, so I will join with you in the discussion in the end of the session, yeah. So but anyway, thank you very much once again for my apa nama kesempatan for this very good platform, yeah. So hope you enjoy this interaction with this any other speakers, yeah. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Sofyan, for allocating your time, also your thought on this during your busy schedule. Inshallah, we get a lot of insights regarding digital revolution, the impact on individual level, such as, for example, low empathy, and also in the brain activity, how it differs between who spend a lot of times in the on the screen and not, also the role of aging, the age of the
Right.
brain. So
Yeah.
even we are tired, yeah, please activate our brain already. Or even we are aided a lot with AI, with activities like with apps, things like that. But don't forget to use your brain as well to process the data,
Exactly.
analyze the data, right?
Okay.
All right, thank you very much, Professor Sofyan. And then,
Okay. Thank
inshallah,
you,
we'll move
Siva.
to second speaker. Okay, again,
Okay.
inshallah,
Thank you very much.
we'll see
Okay.
you
I have to
again.
leave. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Yeah, from the impacts in the individual level, from like suicidal thought, as earlier discussed, and also anxiety and motoric level, in a cognitive domain, and also in the mental health aspect. We will move to the discussion of the environmental anthropology and social dynamics of digital transformation. In this occasion, Dr. Abdul Haq Chang will be sharing with us his thought. So we'll move from the individual impacts to the more anthropological to social impacts of the digital revolution. And Dr. Abdul Haq is professor in Institute of Business Administration, Karachi, in Pakistan. But he done a lot of research in Indonesia as well. He wrote something like Jatilan Traditional Folk Dance of in Indonesia, of Barakah Divine Gift, Texas, USA, United States of America. And in this, I think, spring, he'll go to US as well, to do some research, or to do teaching as well there. But anyhow, without further ado, I'll let Professor Chang lead the discussion. Please, Dr. Abdul Haq Chang.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Siva. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
good.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting to listen about mental health in the digital world. And I move now towards the environmental anthropology and the social dynamics of digital transformation. And today, my focus will be how to think about development through digital perspective. So I think one of ways through which we see the development is through roads, through the roads, or through the infrastructure, or through the debates or discussions on the development. But I think this is not comprehensible to most of the people because not everybody has understanding about complicated languages, concepts, ideas about the development. But I'm going to explain how we can see this development or how the social change through the digital perspective, critical digital perspective, how can it can help us to understand things differently, and how these concepts help more people who are less literate or illiterate. So I think before we go ahead, I want to explain a little bit about what is the development. So development is something idea which is considered the act of expanding or enlarging or in another way having improvement of life. If I have to explain in simplistic perspective, a process through which there is an enlargement of the human society, having more roads, having more hospitals, or having more infrastructures, factories, technologies, corporations. So this is the simplistic perspective of the development. But when we through this idea, I'm sorry, when we see this perspective, this idea of development through the digital perspective, for instance. So the digital perspective, as I explained, is very easy to be understood, and even people who are not literate or people who are semi-literate or who cannot understand the complicated language of development, because mostly all the development plans are abstract or are like in the government language or the language of the state, so normal people cannot understand. But when we see the effects of development, like for example this picture, you see there is a lot of garbage, and especially plastic garbage, and then there is arid land because of not having water, and there are factories. So uh, through digital images we understand, is this development is reality or myth, and it can convey us very well and very easily in comparison to reading hundreds of book or articles or some other medium through which we can understand the critical perspective. So through this presentation, I'm going to digitally explain two projects, because I'm an anthropologist, and we work or we give example through the areas where we did research. So I'm going to explain this idea of governing ecologies of water, environmental issues in Brantas River basin, East Java, and River Indus in Indus Delta, Sindh, Pakistan, and explain digitally through the digital medium how these rivers or how the problems are presented. But below this slide, you see water is like life. Water is life. So, for instance, like having like discussion, talk, like transformation of knowledge through the words is like more complicated than images like this. Simple images, water is life, let us think and ponder very easily, because that image remains in our mind and it keeps coming, circulating, it keeps circulating. So these two areas which I researched, one is East Java, Indonesia, one is Sindh, Pakistan. And in these both regions, there are certain rivers or one rivers. In case of Pakistan, there are 5 rivers, and they come to the one place in Sindh, and they turn into one single river. It's called Indus. And in East Java, Brintas River moves to the two different direction, and it makes a delta near Surabaya. And historically, these two rivers have been source of life for both regions. And here we can see through the digital images that they are very visible, and they explain the area surrounded by them. And at the same time, visually, we can see how important they are in their respective regions, because it gives a area from it starts and area with where it ends. And I think this is also very important image where, for instance, governing ecologies of water, it means that how the policies are made, how these policies are continued, and how these policies are implemented. So ecology, like if you see in this image, Normally, for a lot of people, it's difficult to understand when we explain ecology. But in this image, you can see actually that insects, plant, microorganisms, reptiles, mammals, birds, water, sunlight, they together they together make the ecology. So for example, through digital world, we can understand when we are talking about governing ecologies of water. Actually, it's about governing all these aspects of life, which means, for instance, in simple way, if there is no water somewhere, it is not just about the human beings, but it's also about the insects, plants, microorganisms, reptiles, bird, and everything. And we see through this image that collectively we see we share this as an ecosystem, which collectively it makes. So now, river ecology is basically, for instance, normally, as I said, it's very abstract. For a lot of people, it's a very difficult to imagine. Normally, people just think river is just like there is a water coming from the river, and sometimes people think about like fishing, or sometimes about the water for the drinking purpose and for the agriculture purpose. But however, the river ecology contains something much more life than what we think about it. So if you see this image, it's about, for instance, fish, for instance, and also microbes, for example, or microorganisms. So these microbes or microorganisms are very important kind of the elements for the ecological growth. For example, some of these are very important for the river fish food. For example, some of these are very important for the regeneration of the plants. Some of these are very important for the regeneration of the roots of the plant. So in a way, all these organisms are helping ecosystem in one way or another way. uh, without understanding them digitally, it's very difficult to explain these ideas to people. Like, for example, this image, through this image we can easily tell people, as most of the people, for instance, I work with in Indus Delta or in Barantas, Kali Barantas areas, in villages. Most of people are less literate, or like high school or middle school educated, who live in these villages. For them, it's very difficult to understand these ideas like microorganism. They can understand the fish, water, but through these images it's very easy to understand them, to tell them, in case we want to have the awareness, or we want to inform community about the not having water, or about having the dirty water, or about leaving the garbage or plastic in this water, and how that can affect all these organisms. And for instance, it's also very easy to understand through the digital images, uh, river anatomy. For example, in this image, you can see river always has a source, and most of the time it comes through either through the rain or through the ice melting ice on the glaciers or on the top of the mountains, which is called the river source. And when then river moves ahead, many tributaries. So these tributaries are the small water channels which come from the different mountains, and slowly they come to the big part of the river, which is called the river channel. River channel is mostly a very big part of the river, which on the back many tributaries at the different places come together and combine, and then make river channel. And then we have river banks, and then we have river mouth. River mouth is where the river meets ocean, or river meets the sea. So, for instance, this simple image, this simple digital representation easily explains this idea that what is the anatomy of river to the people we work with. As I said, most of these people are not educated or less educated. So the question is, when you communicate with them regarding the community empowerment, community development, how you talk with them in simplistic perspective, simplistic ideas, and especially through the images, because in images they can understand and it can remain in their ideas, in their mind, so they can remember later on, and then they can have some idea how to think about it, how to implement about it. And more importantly, as we are explaining further in detail, that the climate or ecosystem, for instance, of the water is also depends upon the different temperature, for example, or different wind. So for example, some species they can live, or they can survive, or they can grow better in the warm waters, whereas some species they can live in stream flow, and then some they can live in the cold water. So this is also very important to understand, that for instance, if there is no water flow, so for us maybe it's very simple that there is a water and there is a no water, but just not having the flow in the river or any ecosystem where there is a fresh water, it can also affect a huge number of species which actually depend upon each other. For instance, some species like fish depend upon lot of these species for the food. And this is this is what like we are trying to understand, that how humans and animals consequently depend upon the different kind of the food on each other, for instance. And with the digital perspective, we can explain this to the farmers or to the fishermen, especially when we have to deal with the endangered species. For instance, like in Indus Delta, we have to deal with Indus dolphin. Indus dolphin is blind. Indus dolphin is endangered species, and a lot of people before they try to kill them, even they don't eat them. So we try to explain them that how that Indus Delta blind dolphin, they don't need to kill it, but they need to let survive. Its survival can benefit and help grow other species of fish, crabs, or other things in Indus Delta. And I think one of the ways through which I think we have to understand is that in the environmental perspective, most of the time the approach is apolitical. Apolitical means that a lot of people think that we are dealing with environment, ecology, it's purely a technical perspective. But as per our approach, it's basically when you decide certain people needs to be given water, certain people not given water, it's a political decision. So the two important example I think I will explain later on, but is that how in Brantas River catchment area, for instance, in uh, Malang, and on the way to Surabaya, basically there are a lot of factories. There are a lot of factories in these areas, and most of these factories they live like pollutants in Barantas River, and because of that, basically the river is polluted. And now this is political decision. This is political decision because government wants the improvement industry to earn. So if they have to save the river, actually they have to make political decision, which means the government has to think about the ways through which this pollution can be like either there should be treatment or the pollutant material not to be left in the river but maybe put in the vehicles and put to somewhere else to be treated before it left to in the river or in the ocean. So in a way this is also very complicated idea, but as I said, but through the digital perspective we can easily explain to people because human environment or human ecology is also very important. And previously there was a debate that actually the human ecology it can never change, but now there is a debate that actually the humans are affecting the ecology, especially through industrial waste and through construction. All these physical infrastructure projects, they impact human society. And I think I will move quickly to the point, so it is we can cover the. So here is the map. Here is the map, as we can see, the river Indus map, and you can see that these are the 5 rivers, and they come at the Panjnath, and then they turn into one single river, which is called River Indus. And river Indus being the source of civilization, Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization also depended on it, and lot of archaeologists think that because of the river Indus actually these civilization developed. And also there is a common theory that 3 earliest civilization, Indus civilization or the Babylonian civilization in modern day Iraq, they develop because of the rivers. So river Indus in that sense has a historical kind of the continuity in terms of the development. And also the historical city of Mohenjo-daro, it's also believed that it developed uh, on the banks of river Indus, and it also destroyed because when this river changed its channels or any other disaster took place. So like here through the digital images I can show this to anyone anywhere. If you have to explain this to Indonesian people, for instance, through the storytelling or through other way, it's very difficult. But through these images, we can easily see a kind of the perspective about the old city, which was on the river, which is no more. And these are the channels or these are the dams or barrages which are constructed on the eastern river and western river of Indus. And because of these rivers, actually, the flow of water to Sindh and down South Punjab is very low. And here you can see like through digital image, it's very easy. If I have to explain, it may take a days, but here you can easily see. And after this lecture, I will also send this presentation to Hasiva, so you can also see when you're at home that how at different places because of these dams, the Indus dolphin cannot move further because the dolphin they need a plain kind of area, not having any gate or dams or barrages. So because of governance of the ecologies of Indus water in upper region Punjab, the Sindh region is basically out of water. So different times there are dams, they make canals, water canals, and here you see lower there is a near the Kotri Barrage. Before 1992, there was only in winter 3 months of winter or 4 months of winter water was not available, but now only water is available in 3 months during the monsoon, but rest of the year water is not available. And because of that, there is a huge transformation in Sindh overall, Sindh, and especially in Indus Delta. You can see this image, all this area become dark. Dark means that whenever in Delta there is no sweet water, river water, the sea water encroaches towards the land. And more than half of the delta has become barren, and there is no life there, no agriculture. This area used to be very fertile and very prosperous area. And before Karachi was made by British important port, because this area had a lot of natural port, this area for the thousands of years until Karachi became the British time international port. These areas actually worked as international port for this area. So in this delta, you can see through this digital representation how easy it is to explain this prospect to you. This is the broader area from this delta, and because of national water governance policies, Punjab takes all of the water, and even having the water deficit recently, they have announced they are going to make six new canals, and I think after that it is going to be great disaster. As I said, used word before, political ecology, and also used political, because Sindh has no political power over these rivers. So basically, in the governance system, the central or federation is taking water, and because of that, there is a huge environmental impact and pollution taking place in Sindh. And now we quickly move to the Barantas River. So I think Barantas River also coming from the mountain from this area and going down. It's approximately making the square area. So this area, Barantas River, also was historically also like Indus. It was also mode of the navigation until these roads were built during the Dutch era. This was also used as a transportation mode also for the people, and it was also like huge in number because of rainwater went from there, and there was no barrages, no dams. They were like little bit smaller but not big. So now I think one of the important problem we face with the Barantas River is microplastic. Microplastic used by these factories, which go through the garbage to the river untreated. And here you can see some of these plastics which are cleaned, put on the side of the factory, um, but rest of this material is not treated, and it directly goes to the river, and from the river it goes to the water, and many people who depend on this or agriculture, it also pollutes them. So here you can see garbage. uh, I think the situation is getting better slowly in Jokovi's second era, because of the kacamatan, a lot of kacamatan, and they put a lot of rules regulation. Don't throw the garbage in the river. The situation got better, but it's still in the rural areas or outskirt of the rural areas where there is like no clear-cut division of administration or boundaries. There is still garbage, and it's making a huge problem. And also,
2 more minutes, Dr. Chang.
huh?
2 more minutes,
Okay.
please.
Yeah. I'm about to conclude.
Yep.
So there's also huge, vast wastewater. Wastewater is from the gutters and all other areas which goes untreated. You here see also the child body, uh, and then industrial waste. So huge number of industrial waste which also goes to these rivers, because there is no clear treatment regulations, as I said, because of the politics. So I think at the same time also there is a growth in East Java, growth in the population, growth in the roads, throughout Indonesia, but especially in East Java. This also has huge impact on the development. So I think I will just go, also like a road infrastructure. I will just go to the last slide in 2 minutes. So there is no clear-cut river management for Barantas River because of the political reasons, and because of that, there is a social, cultural, and human impact. It's ignored because these are the not part of the policy, and there is no coherent policy. And there is water pollution, there is a plastic, there is wastewater, industrial waste, and urban growth, and increasing limits of cities and towns. So the cities are increasing, they are encroaching outside of their traditional spaces, and there are roads and infrastructure. So I think this is my last slide. So my perspective, I wanted to show digitally that how these images can give us a kind of perspective about the development in East Java and Sindh through the images, and how these images through circulation can help us to understand this problem better. So thank you, Masiva.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Chang, for sharing your research on the how to govern the ecology of water between a comparison between the Brantas River in East Java that start from Malang, I think, to Surabaya, and also Indus River that uh, uh, pertains to lives of many Pakistani from old civilization to the current situation. And of course, the digital revolution, the digital development also can take a role in increasing the awareness of the community across the river, uh, uh, either in Brantas River or Indus River, because if the development uh, is related to the, for example, the road development, infrastructure development, and also factories that build around the river. And if it is not governed well, there are many, as you mentioned earlier, waste, pollutants, plastics is everywhere. If it is not governed well, as what happened in Brantas, it can cause a lot of problems, including the well-beings of the community as well, the psychological well-beings, the economic well-beings as well, and hopefully both in the Indus River or in Brantas River can be governed better in the near future. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Chang, for sharing that research. And now we will move to Pak Nurwanto. Are you already joining us? Pak Nurwanto,
Yeah,
PhD.
Masiva, I'm here.
Okay. And he will be sharing with us on the topic of religious education as a response to the digital challenges. I'll read briefly his CV. Pak Nurwanto is actually a lecturer here at UMY, Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta, and he graduated currently from Western Sydney University. I'm trying to find the CV here, but not able to look at where. But I know Dr. Nurwanto also got his master degree from Birmingham in religious education as well, and his research is pertaining to peace education, religious educations, how to conflict resolution, things like that. And he will be sharing with us right now on the perspective of religious education, especially Islamic education in dealing with the digital impacts of the digital revolution. So time is yours, Pak Nurwanto.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Shiva. Can you hear me, Dr. Shiva, and everyone participant? Okay,
Good,
thank you.
perfect.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah wa la hawla wa la quwata illa billah. Thank you for having me, and I'm really grateful to have you as well. Basically, I'm honored to be one of the speakers today's seminar, and honorable speakers as well, other speakers presenting their papers, and it's really remarkable we are able to join this international seminar. I will share my presentation. All right, thank you. It is just to check, Dr. Shifa, can you see my presentation? Is it okay?
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
It is clear, Pak.
Yeah. Thank you. It is beautiful subtitle given by the committee, Dr. Shifa and Ibu Fitria, religious education as a response to digital challenges. I would like to try to make it bigger, but I'm not sure whether it is working. But if it is okay, I will run this PPT in a bigger picture. I think that's better. All right, it is the subtopic, and to me it is very important how then we are trying to evaluate, examine the place, the role of religious education in the digital challenges. What I'm going to talk about in introduction, I want to raise some question which may be relevant to our discussion as well. The next one is about, let's say, landscape or framework of religious education in the current policy in Indonesian context. And I want to try to compare to some extent religious education in European countries, so we are able to expand our horizon of knowledge of religious education, not only in Indonesia, but also in other countries. The third one is about how then we are trying to grab the picture of influencing factors of individual life, because it is very important, because every individual can be influenced by other factors. The fourth one is about digital challenges, whether digital challenges are independent or mediated factors, we are able to examine further. And the last one is about our, let's say, like examination or question further, whether the current religious education transformative enough or adequate enough in character to dealing with the challenges of digital era. All right, I raise some question here might be attracting our discussion in this forum, or maybe beyond this forum. The first one is, what do the school life and the digital challenges look like? Okay, we are trying to describe and then identify what are the challenges relating to the digital situation or circumstance we are living right now. And then the second question is, how has religious education been designed in formal schooling setting? And then the third question is the current religious education adequate or strong enough to support and prepare young people to live meaningfully in the digital challenges? All of those things may be answered in my presentation, maybe still, I would say, yeah, just a hint to what to be discussed further. All right. At the beginning, when we are talking about religious education, we are able to take, let's say, political decision. Yeah. Even though we believe that religious education is not only linked to political decision, because it is also living in our community informally. But when we are talking about it based on really political decision, we are able to look at some document, right? For example, in Indonesian context, religious education is compulsory subject, meaning that every student have to take this subject, yeah, in school or madrasah, for example, and every single institution, I mean educational institution formally must provide this subject. Right? There is even national examination or school examination, something like that, as the same as other subject. The second one is about, we are able to compare with other countries regarding the presence or the existence of religious education. For example, in European countries such as England, religious education is not compulsory, meaning it is a non-statutory subject. Even though, for example, school provide or offer religious education, but student can take the subject or can then withdraw from the religious education classroom. I think it is part of the right of every parent. If, for example, your dad or your mom do not agree that your children coming to religious education classroom in the UK, then you can withdraw and then you can ask your children to go home instead of staying in the classroom. Okay, it is totally different from the decision or maybe the policy of religious education in Indonesia. The second one is about the orientation or the objective of religious education. In Indonesian context, religious education is intended to build a kind of religious judgment and commitment, right? If, for example, you are learning religious education, it is not only about talking, or it is not only about knowledge of religion. It is also covering how then you strengthen your belief. It is typical of religious education in some countries, including in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Turkey, for example. And it is different from what happened in other countries, especially in European countries, where students, if they are intended to learn religious education, offered over there is many religion, not only religion belonging to or maybe either to the student or teachers. Okay, so basically religious education in Indonesia is mono-religious in character, because referring to Undang-Undang Pendidikan Nasional Education Act number 20 year 2023, every single student has right to learn religious education, and religious education must be taught by teachers whose religion is the same as that of students. So it is totally different from, let's say, the practicality of religious education in European countries, that teachers who are teaching, let's say, religious education could be even atheists. The teachers over there shouldn't be, let's say, religious believer, even atheists, even humanists, and including also as well religious, let's say, believers. So it is just, I would say, brief picture how then religious education in Indonesia is really, I would say, unique, yeah, and of course influenced by the political decision in our country. Okay, I'm going to move on the next slide. So when we are talking about religious education, we need to identify factors influencing individual life or social life, where teachers or students interacting with each other and then learning any subject, right? And how then they participating in the process of teaching and learning. For example, here we are able to use the theory of ecological system analysis by Bronfenbrenner. Yeah, here in the middle, you can see here the developing child. This theory argues that there is no single individual is free from the influences of other factors in society, culturally, socially, religiously, economically, right? And other factors, of course. Yeah. And when we identify what are the factors here, Bronfenbrenner identify there are 4 or 5 other systems, yeah, called the first one microsystem. Yeah, it is bidirectional influences, meaning that these systems are the immediate factors, directly influence the children, yeah, where they are living. For example, parents, yeah, or teachers, or perhaps peers. Yeah, they are immediate figures who influence and then shape belief, yeah, religious practices, habits in daily life. Yeah, it is called microsystem. The third layer or the second layer is mesosystem. It is about, let's say, mix, okay, mix factors, yeah, mix between two factors of microsystem. Let's say how that interaction between parent and school here, right? Home and school, interaction between school and neighbors. To what extent do this interaction influence the characteristic and then the personality, perhaps the accessibility of the children to digital technology, something like that, right? So it is about the mesosystem is about the interaction, 2 or maybe more than one microsystem. The third layer called ecosystem. Exosystem. Exosystem is about indirect community, which may be influencing individual children, maybe individual student, individual teacher here. Could be either parents, friends, parent workplace, educational system, community and government agencies, shopping centers, mass media, religious hierarchy. So I think based on the theory proposed by Bronfenbrenner about ecological system analysis, perhaps to some extent digital technology is placed here, is part of mass media. Yeah? Even though we believe that sometimes, or not sometimes, often the place of digital technology or devices even distract, yeah, any level, not only here, ecosystem level, but also in the interaction of between microsystem, even in private situation that shouldn't influence or maybe using, yeah, digital technology or digital devices. And I think it is part of the revolutionary practicalities of digital technology. I think what the committee, Dr. Siva and Ibu Fitria, guide us about the international seminar is quite right when digital technology in the context of society and also schools is revolutionary. It is not evolutionary but revolutionary, because it has changed many landscape of school life, family interaction, right? Yeah, every single interaction can be influenced, distracted, yeah, or in positive sense, then guide our student to learn further about anything digitally. It is easy for our children, our student access information through digital platform, very handy. Yeah, they are just having a smartphone and then they are able to access information via internet, etc., etc. And then microsystem here is about economic political system or dominant belief ideologies, right? I will then move on to the next presentation, that digital technology use in education has been, let's say, disseminated, has been digital technology has been used broadly, largely in educational sector. We are able to experiencing right now what we are doing, let's say, online discussion, yeah, seminar via Zoom, that we are able to interact with each other. I can learn important topic, yeah, issues from other speakers, and then how we are engaged to each other through online platform. And I think there is no debate that digital technology, digital devices, yeah, have been used in our educational landscape. And I think referring to one of the studies, digital technology, I would say that have influenced and then change, reshape our type of interaction in learning and pedagogical processes. For researchers, how then they are able to collect data online. For us, yeah, in seminars, we are able to engage with each other regardless of our different places. We are able to connect with each other. We are able to share our knowledge. We are able to share our data, right? So there is no debate empirically that we are influenced hugely by the development of technology, especially digital technology. The question is, how do we transform religious education responsive to digital challenges? I think by looking at the fact that religious education is not only about making our students understand knowledge of religion, but how then we build their commitment to religious practices, religious belief. I think from my point of view, religious education cannot be limited only in the classroom pedagogy. It should be broadened, expanded in practicalities in school life and in school community partnership. We are able to expand this process of religious education interaction. I think digital platform can be included over there, but in other situation, I think interaction in person between teachers and students, how then they, let's say, share their knowledge, experiences are still important. Yeah, I think when we are just talking in online platform, this practice totally different from the situation where when we are engaged physically with others, right? Especially teachers teaching module or education, for example, in primary school or early childhood education. Yeah, physical touch is very important, right? Not only about, let's say, sharing ideas, knowledge, but how then we are engaged physically, emotionally with others. So I think engaging with between student and teachers are important in both medium, yeah, direct interaction in the classroom, physical classroom, or online classroom. I think the technology of serving educational practices have has been enhanced, yeah, boosted in terms of the covering many aspects, In Zoom, for example, we are able to discussion in breakout room, and then we are back to main room to share our discussion from the breakout room. And that's really beautiful practices in online platform we are having right now, such as Zoom and other online platform. And I think in digital situation, we need to escalate and revolutionize the strategies of religious education practices. According to Giroux, one of critical thinkers in education, he proposes three characteristics of progressive pedagogy. The first one is relevance. Knowledge is relevant only when it begins with the experiences of student, right? I think in Indonesian context it is called pembelajaran kontekstual, right? Pendidikan agama or religious education should be engaged with the reality, the fact, what happened surrounding us, right? Our student can be asked to practice like collecting donation, right? They are practicing prayers in the mosque, and then we are able to ask our student to share their experiences in our classroom. That is called contextual teaching and learning, or I would say that it is relevant or connected to the first characteristic, that is relevance. The second was critical. I think it is part of the instruction of Allah SWT in the Quran that we have to clarify, tabayun, every single information coming to us, right? Not all information in digital devices, technology are right or based on the true things that our students should be guided. Yeah, the problem is our student digitally, spiritually misguided. So we have to, let's say, ask our student, invite our student to be more critical about that. And then the third one is about transformative in nature, that we have to build and I think bring our religious education curriculum to be, I think, meaningful, yeah, to get our student transform and change society, community. Yeah, they can start from small thing. Yeah, for example, in our classroom, we can ask our student, what did you do? What did you do today? What did you do this morning? What did you do last night or yesterday? And what you did should be, let's say, relevant and then meaningful to your life. Oh yeah, I did, for example, collect donation, and then I will, let's say, share or donate my money to that mosque, and that is part of the transformative values. Okay, values in religious education should be meaningful and relevant to student life. And when we are talking about what we can do in religious education regarding the challenges of digital technology, is how then we strengthen religious education teachers' competency. When we are back to the theories based on not Education Act, basically, it is Undang-Undang Guru dan Dosen, yeah? Act on teacher and lecturer, that every single teacher or educator in Indonesia must have competencies of personality, social attitude, pedagogical competencies, and professionalism. I think when we are talking about pedagogical competencies or professionalism, every single teacher in Indonesia right now must be engaged with digital practices. And it has been done. It has been practiced, I think. But in many cases, we have to be, let's say, training, okay, educating our teachers and students to be more effective in using technology. And yeah, because of course, the challenge of technology, for example, the phenomena of cyberbullying, the phenomena of the, I would say the untruth, disseminated through digital platform. So I think critical thinking is important. How then, in some of the pedagogy competencies, teachers should have like over to the student to improve critical thinking competencies. And the next one is about the characteristic of progressive loving religious education teachers. I'm borrowing this idea from Antonio Darder, one of the thinkers in pedagogy from Chile, on Latin America, and it could be meaningful as well when we are trying to improve, let's say, individual or social competencies of teachers, that every teacher or educator should have characters of humility, courage, tolerance, decisiveness, confidence, impatience, passion, joy of living, enthusiasm. When we are taking care of children, when they are educating students, because teachers or educators living in the current digital era should be more welcome to our students who are, let's say, familiar with technology, because many our children are digital native, so we have to be entering into their life, right? We have to be engaged with them in any digital platform. You can cross-check in your classroom, for example, by asking, hello kids, do you have social media account? I did so in my university classroom. I'm asking my student, do you have a social media platform? Almost all students in my classroom have social media accounts. So meaning what? We have to educate them, by showing our patience, tolerance, decisiveness, humility. And I think based on our Islamic values, we have to direct them, to be in line with Islamic values. And then I think in the context of a digital situation, we have to escalate, we have to boost our competencies in caring, loving our children, our young generation, so they will be empowered instead of oppressed because of our action as teachers, right? We have to build in balanced way between power and love, between discipline and relatedness, between discipline and caring, all right? Between our authority and let's say giving them freedom to choose. We should be try to be in balance. So they will grow, their potential will grow, they will be more empowered, they will be, let's say, potentially enhanced. So I think we'll be happy because our student then can grow their potential. We'll be sad, we'll be unhappy if our children couldn't improve their competencies, right? So we have to make balance between how then, in what situation we are using our authority, in what situation we are giving them freedom to choose, to, let's say, to participate freely in their daily interaction in our classroom. And I think the last one is about, I think it is very important in some of the spiritual enhancement. I'm borrowing the idea or the word Ibu Fitria, from Doctoral Program about spiritual resilience. I think religious education is pivotal to enhance the capacity of resilience for students. Resilience could be defined in bahasa Indonesia perhaps daya tahan, right? Daya tahan secara emosional, spiritual. We have to make sure that our students have it. Okay, because right now very challenging. I'm not sure whether our children quite strong enough to encounter the challenges, every information coming to them, and then perhaps overwhelming information coming to them. So we have to build the character of resilience to our children, and religious education has that potential. How then we build up character of resilience for student. I think it is the last one about the instruction, hikmah from the Quran. Wal yakhshal ladina law taraku min khalfihim durriyatan di'afan khafu alaihim falyataqullah wal yaqulu qawlan sadida. And let those fear as if they had left weak offspring behind, and fear for them that they would be exposed to injustice. So let them fear Allah and speak word of justice, meaning that we have to leave behind our leave behind us our strong offspring, our strong student, so they are able to encounter every single challenging situation in front of them. Okay, that's it. My presentation, hopefully meaningful for me especially, and to all of you, every participant in this international conference. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
wabarakatuh. It is very meaningful, Pak Nurwanto. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas on how to face the challenges from the religious education perspective. From you quoted Prof. Brenner, from macro system to micro system, and how to also to build what's so-called empowerment, combination between power and love, by means of which we could hopefully build a strong character, a spiritual resilience among our children, our students, so that we not leave behind the weak offspring, Durriyatan Di'afa. So hopefully, and it is very meaningful to all of us. All right, we will go to the next speaker, who is Bu Kartini Raja Bulan Tahir, PhD, and she is now the lecturer, assistant professor in College of Islamic and Arabic Studies in Mindanao State University in Tawi-Tawi, Bungao, Tawi-Tawi, Philippines, right? And yes, and he is also the graduate from our department as well, alhamdulillah, and he used to study in Australia and other country as well. And she will be talking about educational psychology and the coping strategies for the digital stress. So the impact, the psychological impacts from the digital revolution in the forms of digital stress, and how to cope with it from educational psychological perspective. And Dr. Kartini Tahir, please, the time is yours.
First of all, Assalamualaikum everyone. Can you hear me?
Salam. Perfect. It's can be as
Okay, it's
well.
just like 2 minutes ago, we have power outage, so I might be
Oh,
running of yeah. So Bu Fitri very well know the situation of our province because she personally experienced here in Tawi-Tawi that power outage is very regular, as well as the fluctuation of internet connection. Alhamdulillah, it's back. Anyway, I'm
Alhamdulillah.
very happy to give my talk today because it is very connected with what Pa Norwanto shared to us a while ago, because I will be talking about resilience for students, specifically for students. So for this seminar, I was tasked to talk about educational psychology and coping strategies for digital stress. Digital stress. So, upon Bupiti gave me this topic, I think last week, and I was trying to remember what research I did related to the topic given to me. And I remember like few years ago, me and my students conduct psychological resilience for our students who are enrolled in the College of Islamic and Arabic Studies. So that research is that I'm going to share it with all of you today. So, but before I start, I'd like to acknowledge my very supportive colleagues who are here joining us, my friends, and of course, my students. That's why they shared so much about the seminar we have today. That's why, Alhamdulillah, I'm very happy they are here joining us for this discussion. So, magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. And I will be sharing my screen now. Shifa, before I go to my topic, is it okay if I introduce our university? You know, I am currently now working as the director for international linkages. Maybe some of the audience would like to link with our university.
Sure.
So our university is Mindanao State University, Tawi-Tawi College of Technology and Oceanography. We are located in the southern part most of Tawi-Tawi, very near to Sabah, Malaysia. So if we have participants from Malaysia, we are very neighbor in Sabah State. So you can visit our website at msu-tawi.edu.ph, and you can see in the screen that I'm sharing you a couple of pictures about our beautiful islands. So Tawi-Tawi is a Muslim community. It is where you can find the first masjid established in the Philippines. So Sheikh Makdum Sheikh Makdum Masjid. It's one of the tourist spot here in our province. So this is the research we did with my students like 2 years back. It's about psychological resilience of College of Islamic and Arabic study students here in MSUTCTO. So just to give you a brief background, in our campus we have six colleges, and among that is the SIAS. So we offered three programs: Bachelor of Science in Teaching Arabic, Bachelor of Arts in Sharia, and we also have Masters of Islamic Education. So in my research, we focus on understanding the undergraduate students on their psychological resilience. So what we mean by resilience, it means that according to the American Psychological Association, resilience is the process and the outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to internal and to external internal demands. So a number of factors contribute to how well people adapt to adversities. So that is resilience, no? The way we go through the challenges and raise above it. So why resilience is very important, because you know every day we are facing stress, different challenges. So it is very important that uh we have this quality so that we can overcome our problems. And then what role does resilience play in Islamic psychology? I think being resilient is the quality of a believer, because there are many verses in the Quran that encourage us to keep going and to stay and to be patient and to stay strong amidst the challenges. So there is also one verse in the Quran that is very comforting for us. It is said that God would not give us a test or a problem that we cannot overcome. Is it right? And there's also saying that it is the believer is so blessed because whatever they face, either happiness or problems, they are blessed, because during good times they are thankful, and during bad times they remain patient. So this is our outlook as believer in Islam. So that is the resilience is resilience in Islamic psychology. So in our research, we try to find out to what extent are the factors of resilience of the students in College of Islamic and Arabic Studies. So there are three factors that we have identified that contributes to building the resilience. First is the internal factor, which is very personal. And then second is interpersonal, which is the way they interact with other people. And second is external, how the environment contribute to to building the resilience. And then the last question in our research is we want to find out what are the sources of religious insights that help them build the resilience. So later on, I will share our findings on that, which is very, I think, connected to our topic about technology. Now, here is our methodology problem and limitation. So the study is very limited to the students at the College of Islamic and Arabic Studies here at MSUTCTO, and it measures the extent of their resilience. And we want to find out their extent of student resilience. And also, the research is very limited also to the third year and fourth year students in undergraduate program. And the research instrument we use were from Sapolsky and Nordstock, and also from Wagner and Young. So we look into the internet to see samples of survey questionnaire that would measure resilience, level of resilience. So these are the reference that we encountered, and we tailored our survey instrument according to our context. In short, we contextualize our survey instrument. So these are the findings. In terms of internal factors, so as what I have said, internal factors is very personal for the students. It's the way they cope to the challenges. And it's about their mindset, their emotion, their cognitive processes, and personal strength. Now you can see in the table that the highest mean score. By the way, we use 5 Likert scale, so they rated their the statement based on the 5 Likert scale, which is always as the highest, oftentimes, and then sometimes, and then seldom, and then never. So the in this in internal factor, we found out that the students, in terms of I believe in faith and Allah helps me. And I have religious beliefs with Wati that gives me more support and helps me make decisions. So it shows that their religious or their personal belief, their connection to God is really strong. And it is a factor that helped them build their resilience. And you can also notice that on the statement number one, although oftentimes, but it gets a very low score of 4.17. I am good at calming myself down and thinking before I act. So it shows that their personal control is not that strong, but what is much stronger is their belief in God, or in their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So another factor that we have investigated is their interpersonal aspect. So interpersonal aspect, this refers to their social connection with their family, with their friends, and their environment. So in this table, you can notice that the highest statement got the mean score is it helped them build the resilience if they communicate their feelings with people they trust. Okay. And also, it also helped them if they show appreciation to others people feelings. And the lowest statement in this area is I listen and respond appropriately to what other people say. So it shows here that it might help for you to build your resilience when you listen to other people, but it is much helpful if other people listen to you. So next one is the external. So we also investigate the external factor like their environment, their school, or their neighborhood. So in this template, you can notice that the highest statement that got the mean score is that their family support and motivate their all the time. and they feel that their family cares for them. So that help builds their resilience. And among this statement, I think they have less connection with their neighbor. Because in the statement, I have a neighbor who helped me when I have difficulties in life. It has 3.40 means 4. So although it helps, but not much as their family. Okay. So after that, we asked them where they get their understanding or their inspiration in building their resilience in terms of Islamic materials or references. So there I think about 30 students who answered this one because we did a total enumeration for this research. So they rated Quran and Hadith as the main source of their inspiration, as their basis for establishing resilience in their life. So Holy Quran and Hadith. So, but the lowest, although oftentimes the Islamic online materials and Islamic social influencers and bloggers, they oftentimes turn to them for inspiration. But you can see from number 2 to 7, sermon of religious leaders, advices from religious people, advices from parents or by peers. So it shows that in person, like what Pa Norwanto said, that physical connection, physical touch with people will really help you appreciate the learning, right? So I think they prepare much the face-to-face interaction because it will help them better build their resilience than just reading online. Okay? So that's how we that's the result of our very simple research at our college. So, Alhamdulillah, the students believe that yeah, Quran and Sunnah is our source of inspiration in establishing our resilience. But it is very much helpful if we do it like face to face and in person than in online. Okay. So, I have already stated the findings, but let's go to the conclusion. Okay. The conclusion here is the Islamic psychological resilience of students at SIAS is significantly influenced by internal, interpersonal, and external factors. Notably, the religious beliefs and spirituality provide strong support, helping them make decisions, communicate their feelings with trusted individuals, and show empathy towards others. So their family really plays a vital role, offering consistent support and motivation. So, the Holy Quran, Hadith, Sunnah, and Islamic texts, books, and reading materials are the most frequently referenced sources for establishing and reinforcing resilience. So this reveals that the primary source for establishing and reinforcing resilience among students here in our college is Quran and Sunnah, which has the highest mean score, where the Islamic online resources and social media are also referenced. They receive lower scores, indicating that these platforms are used oftentimes for inspiration. So despite of growing influence of online platforms, the Quran and Sunnah remain the central source of strength for Muslim students as SIAS in building resilience. So additionally, it is observed that students prepare to engage in in-person learning sessions related to Islam, such as listening to sermons, receiving advices from family peers, which further support their resilience building process. So let's conclude our simple research. I presented this one just to, inshallah, this will be like point of discussion for every one of us. And there is some area of potential research. So we just did a survey, but it would be helpful also to validate the findings if, inshallah, we'll be conducting like a qualitative research wherein we interview and validate their answers. So maybe they just put the ideal answer like yes, it should be Quran and Sunnah, where in fact as what had been presented while ago, most of our students spend their time on phone looking on the social media. So that is something that we have to validate. So next, oh, I think that's all. Mashipa, thank you very much for having me, for the opportunity given to me to share our simple research to everyone. Thank you very much.
Maksudku Mom Kartini.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. How do you say thank you very much? Moksukul?
Maraming salamat.
Oh, maraming
Maksudku.
salamat.
That's in Tagalog, but in our dialect we say magsukol.
Oh, I see.
Yes,
All
magsukol is
right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Moksukul, for sharing the research conducted in the College of Islamic Studies and Islam and Arabic Studies in Tawi-Tawi and Mindanao State University. And it's very interesting to know that the main reference of the students to build their resilience, whether the internal one or the external one, probably is that referring to the Quran and the Sunnah, right, to the Hadith, in addition to the maybe less significant from the online sources, but was beautiful. All right, we move to Brother Said Jamaluddin Miri, and since we are narrowing down the topic to the Islamic side of the psychology, which is a perfect time to go to Miri, because he ISIP, International Students of Islamic Psychology, co-founder of Fatwa Academy of Sacred Manhood, Al-Balkhi Institute of Islamic Psychological Studies and Research. So he is also not only academics, but also practitioner, counselor, licensed counselor, right? In the area of Islamic psychology. He did his postgraduate diploma and right now, and also doing clinical psychology ongoing in Lund or Lund, I don't know how to pronounce it, a university in Sweden. And currently he is residing in Sweden. A lot of information about him, but due to the time limitation, I would like to welcome and invite Brother Said Jamaluddin Miri to share her knowledge, her insight on the psychological impacts and how Islamic psychology can negative impacts of the digital revolution. Please, time and screen is yours, Brother Said Jamaluddin Miri.
جزاك الله خيرا أستاذ محمد. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلوات والسلام على رسول الله وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
excellent brothers and sisters, dear colleagues, dear Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. Thank you so much for honoring me for inviting me to be part of this beautiful international conference in psychological impacts of the digital revolution and contributions within the concept of religious coping. I want to thank Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. I had the honor to be in your university this summer. It was such an honor to learn more about the Muhammadiyah movement in Indonesia, and also to visit the beautiful
this summer. Okay.
This summer, yes, and also to visit the beautiful city of Yogyakarta was truly an honor. So I want to thank all the faculty members at UMI. I also want to thank all staff, all leaders, all teachers, and of course, all students of UMI. And I also want to thank all the participants who are joining today, all excellent brothers and sisters, students, mental health professionals, scholars, all the lecturers before me. I want to send my salams and greetings to Professor Muhammad Sufyan, to Dr. Abdul Haq Chang, to Norwanto, to Professor Kartini, and I also want to thank Sister Fitria and others who have invited me here, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I always say that Indonesia is the leading country in the field of Islamic psychology, and the whole Nusantara region is a leading region when it comes to Islamic thought and Islamic psychology. And I'm forever grateful for the contributions of Indonesia, Malaysia, and other countries in the region as well. So my presentation today, dear brothers and sisters, will be about how we can reflect upon Islamic psychology and utilizing it in this era. Because in this digital age, our exposure to global events has reached unprecedented levels, dear brothers and sisters, bringing both challenges and also opportunities for our psychological and spiritual resilience. And as we scroll through our screens or our digital devices, we're witnessing, for instance, the unfolding genocide in Palestine. And we are getting more and more informed, and we are getting more and more impacted by a lot of the things that are happening in the world. And all of our praise and du'as to our beloved brothers and sisters in Palestine. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala free Palestine. And this digital exposure intensifies our commitment for justice, commitment for peace, commitment to support the Palestinian brothers and sisters and all people all around the world who are now facing occupation, genocides, colonization, etc. But it also intensifies our grief, our anger, and also our helplessness in many ways, and sometimes even challenging our ability to cope. Yet, dear brothers and sisters, within this era, as we are seeing this genocide being unfolded live in front of our eyes, and as I referred to, many of us feel helpless, even though I know many people are doing an amazing job in raising awareness for the Palestinian cause and for the plight of the Palestinian people for self-determination. Islamic psychology can offer us a lot of great insights and give us timeless tools. And it's rooted in our Islamic tradition of religious coping and spiritual coping, ways that we can, through our tradition, process pain, foster resilience, and also navigate traumas with faith and with purpose. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to free Palestine. And today, I will try to, together with you, dear excellent brothers and sisters, explore how the principles of Islamic psychology can help us to maintain balance and mizan and hope amidst the trials of our contemporary era, inshallah. So I will try to share my screen, dear brothers and sisters, so that we can start, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome once more, dear brothers and sisters. I also want to send salams and greetings to all of my colleagues that are joining from ISIP's International Students of Islamic Psychology's Indonesian chapter, Malaysian chapter, Singaporean chapter. It's an honor to have you all with us, and you all are doing an amazing job. So dear excellent students, brothers and sisters, participants of this excellent conference, all scholars, teachers, and faculty members of UMI, my lecture will be about Islamic psychology and religious coping in the digital age, resilience in testing times, Islamic psychological insights for healing and growth. This lecture is almost 90-minute lecture, so I will try to minimize it as much as possible. And I might skip a lot of slides. So please forgive me, dear brothers and sisters, already, because we don't have a lot of time. I will try to be as swift as possible, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I actually want to start, dear brothers and sisters, to speak about a personal anecdote pertaining grief, pertaining pain, okay? And what that has meant for me in my life when I have gone through personal trials and tribulations, or as we say, bala in Arabic, all right, or ibtidal, all right? So this is a quote from a text that I've written, a journaling that I've done. Bismillah. This may sound masochistic, but it's certainly not my intention to glorify pain or suffering. But the closest I've come to reconnect with the true nature of my heart has been when I've been at my deepest struggles in life, subhanAllah. During these times, when things that I have subconsciously taken for granted, such as health, work, family, friends, suddenly disappeared due to illness, loss of relatives, loss of work, etc., and I am left with the aftermath of the pain suffered of these losses, such as sorrow, physical pain, financial worries, etc. And when I then start thinking about the losses, I often come to the realization that, alhamdulillah, there is always hikmah in all pain. Time will tell. Time really is my heart's best friend. It's something I personally seen and experienced several times in my life. Initially, the feeling that the pain was unbearable to deal with became more bearable over time. The events that I truly felt would end my life literally led to a spiritual awakening in time with sabr and with tafakkur. Why Allah? Why me? These types of why questioning eventually became acceptance of Allah's qadr and will. And questioning turned into dhikr, praises and salawat towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Thank you, Allah. Thank you for giving your servant such a perfect example in our beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam and in his way of dealing with the tumult of the dunya. Ya Allah, thank you. When I start to build myself up from the trials I went through, that's when I felt closest to the true nature of my heart and its testimony of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is our fitrah. It was then that I felt closest to my soul and its connection to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as the wasila that it is. However, as time passes, time can also show its double-edged nature, an allusion to the double-edged sword as a proverb that defines something that has or can have both favorable and unfavorable consequences. And as time passes again, without proper safeguards, this could lead one to the state of hafla, forgetfulness once more. When normalcy strikes back and things start to settle down, then one tends to forget what one has been through, and one perhaps begins to engage in one's ibadah as a routine again, a routine of the limbs rather than of the heart. The cry of the heart to its Lord, felt during the time of tribulation, is now a voice of the past as we continue our walk in the dunya without being in a constant state of dhikr, shukr, and tafakkur muraqabah. Am I a hypocrite? The scholars used to talk about the ritual acts and worship of the hypocrites, which are performed only outwardly without any inner form of worship to enliven and give one's worship an inner meaning and dimension. Zahir versus Ba'atin. From being connected to my heart's true nature, I realized that time can both connect one to one's heart's essence, but without proper safeguards, time can also lead one to the state of hafla once more. So this is part of an anecdote, dear brothers and sisters, where I'm expressing my thoughts of how I have gained in many ways insights from the trials and tribulations that I went through. And that actually sometimes I'm not asking for trials and tribulations, and we're not as Muslims asking for trials and tribulations, but we will face them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that He will test us as a way for us to come closer to Him, right? And for me, to be quite honest, dear excellent brothers and sisters, many times I can say that that trial and tribulation and that suffering and pain, of course, you cannot compare with the pain that our beloved Palestinian brothers and sisters are facing right now. Nevertheless, for me, has been an awakening spiritually sometimes. As I mentioned in this anecdote, sometimes you tend to go to the state of hafla when everything is good, you have your health, you have your work, you have your family, and when something is taken from you, then suddenly you wake up and say, wait a minute, I cannot take anything for granted, and hopefully you reconnect back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has provided you all rizq, isn't it? So what is the Islamic view of trials and tribulations, dear excellent brothers and sisters? This is a quote from the great Moroccan scholar Ibn Ajiba. And I really recommend you all to read Ibn Ajiba's manuscripts. He's a psychologist, in a sense. He has profound knowledge to share with us with regards to many different topics, and particularly how to deal with trials and tribulations and bala. And Ibn Ajiba says, quote, if the real reveals himself to you by his divine name Al-Jalil, the Majestics, or by his name Al-Qahr, the All-Powerful, and has opened to you a door and a perspective through which he may be known thereby, know then that God has taken special care of you and has desired to choose you for his presence, to single you out for his presence. He inflicts upon him tribulation until he becomes upright and purified and becomes fit for the divine presence, just as silver and gold are purified by fire for the treasuries of kings. Subhanallah. If we try to reflect upon this quote, dear excellent brothers and sisters, he says, inflicts trials. So Allah inflicts tribulation until we get purified so that we can connect with him, right? As how silver and gold are purified by fire. If we look at iron, dear sisters and brothers, if we look at iron, how do we forge iron? How do we strengthen iron? By putting it in fire, right? So how we can view the trials and tribulations that we are facing in this digital era is to see these trials and tribulations as fire that is purifying us and strengthening us, like how the fire strengthens and forges iron. I love the Japanese tradition of the samurai. I'm sure you guys know the samurai, right? The samurai, they had swords. And if you look at the samurai sword, how was it forged? They put it in fire, right? And I know in the beautiful country of Indonesia, you guys have, what is it called? Silat, this beautiful martial arts. And they use, I don't know if they use weapons. I'm sure they use their hands and their bodies. And I'm sure there is also this tradition. And you know, when you strengthen...
Yeah, we have keris.
Sorry?
We have what's so called keris as a weapon.
Keris, mashallah, mashallah.
Like forge, yeah.
So we know that when we want to forge something, we can use fire. Even if warrior who wants to strengthen his body, okay, he needs to train so hard that he's firing up his body. So fire is the allegory and the metaphor of trials and tribulations and forging. So the question is, why God? Why pain? Sometimes when we go through trials and tribulation, we ask why questions, like why Allah? Why pain? Right? And I want to bring you guys to the theodicy of suffering. Dear excellent scholars, faculty members, teachers, students, brothers and sisters. Theodicy is a theory that was and is still quite common in Christian theology. We didn't have the same issue in Islamic theology, but nevertheless, it's important to speak about theodicy and the problem of evil, because theodicy is the notion of evil, to understand evil, right? So theodicy as a philosophical framework deals with the issues of explaining God's existence, more precisely how God can be both perfectly good and all-powerful when there is simultaneously evil and suffering in the world. And when we try to find a proposed solution to a theodicy notion, we call it a theodicy. So for instance, we have pain in the world because of you understanding what health is. That is a theodicy. I'm giving you an explanation. Why do we have pain in the world? And within Islamic thought, dear excellent brothers and sisters, until modern time, we have never had a so-called quote-to-quote theodicy problem. Rather, this is something inherited from the Christian and secular tradition of thought. Now, a lot of the classical Islamic theologians and the mutakallims and the mutakallimun sought to explain the phenomena of transient pain and suffering by investigating whether human beings can obtain moral knowledge on only pure reason and the aql, or the mantiq, logic. And according to the theologians, moral facts like good and evil are not ontological features of this world and do not have any ontological reality. Rather, moral facts corresponds to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's commands and prohibitions. That is, good is that which reward is attached to, and evil is what punishment is attached to. And therefore, dear excellent brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be attributed with evil, and what is considered evil is relative to the subjective experiences of the person from which they cannot transcend. As moral facts are only knowable through scriptures and wahi, Quran and Sunnah, God and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only source of true moral knowledge. So to make a claim that God allows absolute evil is to assume that we have access to moral knowledge the way that God sees it, and that we know all the variables as God knows them. So therefore, the classical Islamic theologians, they made a distinction between absolute evil and pain and suffering in this world. And this is very important to reflect upon, because the thing is, what we consider evil, as Muslims or as human beings, is attributed to our shortcomings to understand what is the benefit out of it. We always have husnul dhan billah, positive opinion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? We always have husnul dhan billah. So the classical Islamic theologians, they never said Allah is doing bad. They didn't put it on Allah, even though we know that everything comes from Allah, right? We believe everything comes from Allah, good, bad, good, evil, everything comes from Allah. But what is good, we attribute to Allah. What is bad, we attribute to ourselves, not understanding the wisdom behind it. I hope this makes sense, dear brothers and sisters, because this is how the classical Islamic theologians have taught us to think. This is based upon the prophetic tradition, obviously. So it's our shortcoming of not understanding, because we're just human beings. We don't see things the way God sees it. We don't understand things. But with time, if we process the pain and grief, often the wisdom comes. I'm sure you guys have that experience as well when you guys have been through trials and tribulations. So when we make a moral claim of evil, what we really attend by it is pain and suffering. And one of the great scholars from the Ash'ari was the Ash'ari, and he was relating to Imam Ash'ari as well, Ibn Furak. He said, there is only one sense for evil and good in the observable, that what is evil is avoided for the imperfection and harm that it results in for the one who does it, and that the good and wise act is chosen because of the benefit and the perfection that it results in for one who does it. There is no ground for the act's performance or omission in the observable, but this or its like. Very interesting quote from Ibn Furak that we can reflect upon. The only one sense for evil and good in the observable. That is, what is evil is avoided for the imperfection or harm, right? And the good we choose because of the benefit. So what is considered good and evil is based on the outcome of the occurrence. That is the degree of benefit or harm that is a result in for human beings, which is determined by human beings. So, two questions still remain, dear brothers and sisters. And these are very important questions. One, why does God allow pain and suffering? And two, what is the purpose of pain and suffering? So, when it comes to the question one, the Islamic theologians, they made a distinction between God's will and what he creates into existence, and his love and what he prefers and is pleased with. And it is precisely because of God's ability to create everything into existence that he is all-powerful, and it's because of God's love that is suffering that people go through. For example, refugees, people that are oppressed, should be alleviated as a command, amr, and the perpetrators held accountable for their choices and actions. And God states in the Holy Quran, quotes, indeed, Allah orders justice and good conduct and giving to relatives and forbids immorality and bad conduct and oppression. He admonishes you that perhaps you will be reminded. And this is in Surah Al-Nahl, verse 90. So, as for harmful actions, dear brothers and sisters, and in this case, we speak about the existence of pain and suffering that someone has undergone at the hands of other human beings is actually a consequence of free will. So if free will was constrained to remove pain and suffering that occur from human beings, then we would not be free willing beings. So this is consequence of us having free will. Now, going to the second question, the purpose of pain and suffering, as what Ibn Taymiyyah, one of the great scholars of our tradition, explains, are part of the order of this world because they serve God's wise purpose for his creation as he is all wise. And Ibn Taymiyyah says, some servants may know some of God's wise purpose, and what is hidden from it may be hidden from them. People are favored over others in knowledge of his wise purpose, his mercy, and his justice. Each time the servant increases in knowledge of the realities of things, he increases in knowledge of God's wise purpose, his justice, his mercy, and his power. So, dear brothers and sisters, a person increases in spiritual excellence by trusting God more than him or herself and becomes receptive to spiritual openings. And to achieve an intimate station and maqam with God is to undergo spiritual purification through the cultivation of virtues. A person can achieve then a heightened awareness of the reality of God by tasting the imperfections of the reality of this world through, for example, pain, suffering, trials, and tribulations. Now, I would like to go to this slide, because it's a very interesting way of reflecting upon how we can deal with struggles and suffering and create resilience, because we are speaking about religious coping in this conference today, and also resilience is connected to religious coping. Things are known by its opposite, dear brothers and sisters. This is very interesting, because pain and suffering are necessary because things are unknown by their opposites. So, for example, a person in a perpetual state of pleasure cannot understand the concept of pleasure because he or she has not experienced pain to consciously understand the state he or she is in. And our great, Hujjatul Islam, one of the greatest scholars in our tradition, Imam Ghazali, rahimahullah, he explains, health is not enjoyed without illness. The blessed in paradise would not know their blessedness without hell, and perfection is not known without imperfection. So, for instance, brothers and sisters, how are we supposed to know what is sweet if we don't know what is sour? How are we supposed to know what is happiness if we don't know what is sadness? So things are known by its opposite. And this is a very good thing for us to think about, that when we go through trials and tribulation, is for us to understand what is health. If I'm sick, it's a way for me to understand the blessedness of being healthy. So once a person accepts pain and suffering as part of the order of this world, there is an existential recognition which goes beyond the question of why, that undergoing pain and suffering is simply confronting reality at its hardest edges. This small aspect of reality is part of a greater reality in which pain and suffering are created for God's wise purpose of creation. Now, I know I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to wrap up soon. But what I would like to say, all right, is that there are different ways that we can look at the role of suffering in an Islamic psychological lens and also in a fitra-centric lens, all right? I want to go through this slide and next slide, then I'm going to just briefly go through how we can view things in this contemplative era, as the conference title is The Digital Era. So, essentially, the fitra, as you guys know, is our primordial state of a pure dispositioning in witnessing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his divine names and attributes. And this witnessing is part of our fitra, which is an imprint on our souls. And dear brothers and sisters, as we come into dunya and the world, we are born in a state of fitra, a pure state and a pure connection to Tawheed and the oneness of Allah through his divine names and the witnessing of these divine names and attributes, which is an imprint on our fitra. So as we grow in dunya, we go from a state of connectiveness with the oneness, although still connected, to duality, which is me and the world. The sense of me, I am I, you are you, comes from our experience raised up in dunya. And there is a wound there when you lose your connection to fitra, full witnessing. Because when you're born, you're in a total witnessing, total connection to the state of fitra. When you lose that, when you come into dunya, this is a primal wound, right? And we feel a loss. We feel a loss, okay? So when we feel this loss of being in this pure state of fitra, which is happiness, we try to heal this primal wound by dunyavi measures, worldly measures. So we try to find different objects in dunya as a way to soothe this primal loss. We call it transition objects, all right? Transition objects. So for instance, some people, they try to find joy and happiness by doing things that are not good for them as a way for them to feel this happiness they felt when they were in a pure state of fitra. But what we need to do, instead of doing things that are not good, because that's a projection, and that thing that we're not doing good is a transition object, we should instead reconnect to fitra through our suluk and spiritual wayfaring and through our different spiritual practices, and that we purify ourselves when we go through trials and tribulations in dunya as a way to reconnect to Allah. And everything in creation other than Allah cannot stand His place. So as we enter into a state of taklif and accountability towards Allah, we go into our spiritual wayfaring and suluk. And when we go through our spiritual wayfaring, we need to go through the practices of mujahadat al-nafs and tazkiyat al-nafs and riyadat al-nafs, disciplining ourselves, purifying ourselves, fighting our ego as a way to reconnect to fitra. And layers of experiences and social conditionings in dunya creates the duality and the sense of I. So it's actually good to go through trials and tribulation, and it's actually necessary in order to consciously, mindfully reconnect, to uncover the process of how we can reconnect with our fitra. And the accumulation of dunyavi worldly experiences enable us, dear excellent brothers and sisters, to return to the divine witnessing. And it gives us a deeper appreciation of the primordial experience of divine witnessing. And this is actually a cyclical process in an elevated form. So we go through an elevated form of a cyclical process to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through all trials and tribulations, through our mistakes, and then the learning that we gain from our mistakes. So why are we not in a perpetual state of felicity and sa'ada? Why are we not always in a state of sa'ada? Because dunya, the world, and the experience of duality, me and you, gives us something to measure felicity by. And that is by suffering, which is its opposite, which Imam Ghazali mentioned. Things are known by its opposite, right? So I need to move on. Unfortunately, this lecture is so...
We have only 1 or 2 minutes.
So I will finalize.
Briefly,
How many minutes, Brother Muhammad, do I have? Or am I done?
2.
Okay, I will be very quick. Inshallah. I have a lot of more slides. Inshallah, next time it will be an honor to join, and we will do part 2, inshallah. So I want to speak a little bit about resilience, okay? Resilience, sumud, and hope, raja, are important in the case of loss, all right? Because together they are able to allow us to come to terms with our loss. Let's say you lost a relative or you lost your job. Resilience and hope is very good ways of handling it. A lot of studies have shown that religion is one of the factors that contribute to resilience and sumud. So trauma and ambiguous loss often coexist together, and if the trauma is not dealt with, it can trigger unresolved ihsas and emotions. So to restore resilience could be a therapeutic way of dealing with loss and reconnecting with the loss and the relationship with whom the loss is associated with. There are 3 types of griefs. I'm not going to speak of all about them. I'm going to speak about frozen grief as my last thing. Frozen grief is a result of death or something of a loss or something of a physical and psychological disappearance. And therefore one's grief is frozen since one do not get a chance to let the grief run its normal course. You see, if grief is not processed, it will not turn into resilience. Resilience is a higher purified state of grief. Does this make sense to you, brothers and sisters? Resilience is the outcome of processed grief. Raja, hope, is one of the tools, because we have raja and hope in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He will bring us through closure, right? So we don't want to stay in a frozen grief position. And I am a counselor, I'm a mental health professional. And in my counseling with my clients, and we try to always utilize Islamic psychological principles and interventions. When I see a person being in frozen grief, for instance, they cannot resolve the grief of things they went through in life, that's not a healthy state. So we try to help them to process the grief so that it becomes resilience through different interventions. This is my last, I have one other slide and then I'm done. Who is this person in this picture, dear brothers and sisters? Because this is an example of frozen grief and unprocessed grief. And I'm going to connect it to something. Who is this person? Ustad Muhammad, if you guess, who is this person?
Herzl.
Yes, Theodor Herzl.
He's
Exactly.
some Zionist. He's some Zionist.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. He is the founder of the Zionist ideology, dear sister. Exactly. Okay, and you know the Zionist ideology is the ideology that is racist, you know, colonizing Palestine, killing, genociding the Palestinian beloved brothers and sisters. Zionism is an example of frozen grief. You know how? Because when the Jewish people were massacred and killed and genocided in Europe during the Second World War and the Holocaust, over 6 million Jews died. All right, this is a zulm, this is oppression. We're against it as Muslim. Actually, we were the ones who gave the Jewish people a safe place and a safe haven in the Muslim lands. The Zionists, with their propaganda, has rewritten the history because they want to steal the Palestinian land. But we know as Muslims that we saved the Jewish people in many ways, historically, because for over 1,000 years, the Jewish people were discriminated in Europe, and they got safe havens in Muslim lands, in Al-Andalus, in the Ottoman Empire, etc. But what happened after the Holocaust, it was two approaches to deal with the aftermath of the grief of what happened to the Jewish people in the Holocaust. You have one type of people who experienced the Holocaust from the Jewish people who said, what happened to us should never happen us again. These are people who were against Zionism. And we know that there's a lot of Jewish people that are against Zionism. We're not against Jewish people, we're against Zionism, which is a racist ideology. But then there were other people who went through the experience of the Holocaust who were in frozen grief, who said, what happened to us should never happen to us again, but we can commit it to others, like the Palestinians. And that is Zionism, which is frozen grief, unprocessed grief. When the oppressor does not process her or his grief, they can become the oppressed. When the oppressed do not resolve their grief and it's frozen, then they can become the oppressor. And history has shown this. That's why the best way of processing grief is to learn how to process it through our tradition. I'm going to give you two examples and then I'm done. Okay? So this picture is an example of processed grief and resilience that came out of it, Sumud. This is about the siege of Baghdad, 1258, the Mongol invasion of Baghdad. I'm sure you guys know the history of when the Mughals came to Middle East. In Baghdad, they destroyed Baghdad. And back then, Baghdad was the capital of the Khilafah, the Abbasid Caliphate, right? So they burned everything. And there is sayings that people used to say that the river of Tigris was filled with red and black color. Red of the blood of the shuhada and the martyrs, and black of all the ink of all the books that were destroyed in the libraries. So the Mughals destroyed and killed so many people. How do you think that the people who suffered from this trial and tribulation did? Did they question Allah? Did they say, why Allah, and become irritated? Or did they go to frozen grief? No. What happened, they continued to believe in Allah, They spiritually reconnected to Allah. And what happened even more is that they started to do dawah towards the Mughals. This is a picture of Ibn Khaldun, one of the great scholars of our tradition, the pioneer in sociology and psychology, social psychology, Ibn Khaldun. He met Timur-Lenk. Timur-Lenk was a descendant of Genghis Khan. And he did dawah to the Mughals, so did the Muslims. And what that turned to, dear brothers and sisters, and this is my final slide, the dawah turned into the Mughals becoming Muslims. The Mughals become Muslims. The descendants of Genghis Khan became Muslims, and they spread Islam to Bilad al-Hindustan and the Mughal Empire. So Islam was spread partially through the dawah of the Mughals, the descendants of the Genghis Khan, who used to be pagans, who became Muslims by those that they conquered. So they conquered Baghdad, and they became Muslims, and they became the bastions of Islamic civilization and art, and they spread Islam to India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and in Southeast Asia. It's amazing. So, what can we learn from this, dear brothers and sisters? And I will now stop my lecture, is that we can deal with things by not being frozen in the grief. Try to get help. You know, if you need to go to a counselor, you go to a counselor. If you need to seek mental health support, you do that. If you need to speak with other brothers and sisters about your experiences, specifically in this digital era where we are bombarded with inputs of things, do that. Because if we're stuck in the grief, then it can become frozen, and who knows what happens with us. We can learn from the history. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not, when Allah gave him the fath and the opening of Mecca, did he go and kill all the people of Quraysh who killed his followers and his family members? No, he pardoned them. And some of them became some of the best Muslims who spread Islam all over the world. So this is the prophetic tradition, to never be stuck in frozen grief. Jazakallah khairan for listening to me, dear brothers and sisters. Please forgive me for any shortcomings. If I said anything wrong or did anything wrong, rest assured that all the mistakes are in the mind. If anything good came from my presentation, it's all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all the mistakes are solid in mind. Thank you so much, Ustad Muhammad, for your compassion and for giving me extra time. Thank you, brothers and sisters, all scholars and faculty members. I'm looking forward to work with the Universitat Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. We're already speaking about partnership between ISIP and UMI. I'm looking forward to come and visit more, to build a lot of programs together, inshallah. I will put my details in the chat for all of you, dear brothers and sisters and participants. If you want to reach out to me, that's my email address. We also have a WhatsApp group for Islamic psychology. If you want to join and benefit from resource sharing and discussions, I put the link on the WhatsApp group and my WhatsApp number, email. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to be at your service. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair, Ustad Muhammad.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Wa
wabarakatuh.
iyyakum, Brother Said Jamaluddin Miri, for the lecture discussing a wide range of topics from the theology of suffering, how to face the suffering, also Islamic history regarding how to face the frozen grief, for example, comparing between how Judaism face the Holocaust and the Muslims when facing the siege of Mongol. It's become very opposite directions of responding to the events. There's a good example of how to deal with the grief, with the turbulences, with the trials. Example. I also remember once there's a quote from Imam Ghazali. It says, "Laisa fil imkani abda mimma kan." There is no in the possible world better, more wonderful than what it is. So let's face what it is. The evil can be understood as the fire that forged the iron that becomes silver and gold. And also the trials, turbulences in our life can also be understood as the way of God's purifying us, for us to be better connected with God, become a more pure soul, inshallah. All right. Thank you very much, Brother Said Miri. And for those of you who want to share his or her thoughts or pose questions, please raise your hand, open your camera, and then unmute your microphone as well to have an interaction with our esteemed speakers here. I think Professor Sofyan already leaving. So with us, Dr. Chang and also Pak Nurwanto, Bu Kartini, and Brother Said Mary are already are still here. And if you have any questions, any comments, you can deliver in Indonesian, in Bahasa, not in Tagalog. I don't understand. Maybe Sister Kartini can translate later on. So all is welcome. Let's see in the. I saw a question somewhere in the message center in the message, but I couldn't locate it yet. Please, brothers and sisters, if you have any questions. Oh, here it is. For Dr. Kartini, there is a question from Melvin Jabar. He is our student from Philippines as well. For Professor Syed Jamaluddin Miri, can we say that reason why we hope is because we experience pain and suffering? Can we say that hope is manifestation of processed grief? And for Dr. Kartini, do you have a follow-up study looking into how level of Islamic religiosity could influence resilience? I understand that your study, you asked about their source of resilience. It may be good to look in their religiosity as well. So, Dr. Kartini, if you are, if you can address this question, whether follow-up study regarding the level of Islamic religiosity, in addition to the sources of resilience, you can give further clarification on that. Is Dr. Kartini still with us?
Question, Ustad Muhammad or?
Dr. Kartini first.
Okay, Dr. Kartini first. Okay, no problem.
Okay. Dr. Kartini? Oh, maybe his electricity problem there. If not, we go to
I can answer the first question.
Mary for the
Yes.
first question regarding hope. And also there is also a comment regarding from Indahing regarding the frozen grief. Remind me of the experience of Viktor Frankl regarding the search for meaning, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, please.
Good, very relevant. First and foremost, I'm not a professor. I just want to say I'm just a brother. So please, I'm not on that level yet. Inshallah, one day, inshallah. Nevertheless, with regards to hope and an experience of pain and suffering, yes, you can definitely say, Melvin, Jazakallah khairan for your excellent question, that hope can come as a response to pain and suffering. So yes, if it's processed, if the grief is processed in a healthy manner, then hope can be a natural outcome. So that is part of the acceptance of the reality of pain and suffering, that when the wisdom comes and the hikmah, then hope is one of the outcomes. So I think, Brother Melvin, and to all brothers and sisters, that pain and suffering always creates a contrast in our lives that highlights the need of raja and hope. And as we spoke about Imam Ghazali's quote, that things are known by their opposite, we can in that perhaps appreciate that we are in a sense being confronted with the hard edges of reality by sometimes going through trials and tribulations. Not that we're asking for it, but it's inevitable in our life. So through these trials, we could then find hope and sumud, which is resilience, when the whole grief is processed. Now, it's easier said than done, dear brothers and sisters. I just want to put that caveat in, because when we speak about theory, it sounds very easy, but it's not easy. So you need to give yourself time to process grief. Because if we just go through it quickly, then it will become numbing yourself from a psychological point of view, which is essentially bypassing yourself psychologically or spiritually. And there is a term called psychological bypassing and spiritual bypassing, which is not healthy. It's just to say, khair, let's move on. Yes, it's khair, but we need to sometimes be with the pain in order to acceptance comes and rida, and that's where the processing comes that leads you to, for instance, hope and raja, or resilience or sumud. But if you don't process it and you just bypass it, then it might come back to you in a later stage through frozen grief or through psychosomatic ailments, etc. So when we have pain, we need to recognize the pain as a way of accepting qadar Allah. But with recognizing the pain, you're also recognizing your humanity. Because the difference between angels and humans are that humans, they have free will, so we can experience pain. Angels cannot experience pain, they cannot, and we're not angels. And that's why we can experience pain, It's part of free will. But we need to also let it be there. Don't bypass it, because when you let it be there, after a while, you'll see probably that the pain will not kill you. And with time, when the wounds are healed, you see that the scars of the wound reminds you of Allah and brings you closer, and that gives you raja and hope. And you will be desensitizing the pain almost, And then resilience comes that you see the pain as a means of fighting for justice. Look what the Palestinian brothers and sisters are doing. They're fighting for justice, not only for themselves, but for all Muslims all over the world, as amazing examples of resilience. Because they are in the situation and they're taking that struggle and they're opening up us to come close. You know how many people became Muslims because of the Palestinian example the last year? So many people. So that is, the Palestinians are on a high spiritual and psychological station, and we have a lot to learn from them, inshallah. May Allah free Palestine and free our Muslims, and may Allah allow us to go through our grief, process it so that we can see hope once more, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan.
Ustad, one more thing I want to say that if we have contentment with the past, जो भी हमारे past में हुआ है, अगर हम उससे राजी हैं और अगर हम present के situation में we are finding some pleasure, I mean खुशी है हमें और future में हमें अगर hope है, then that person will obviously gain a lot of resilience to face the trials and tribulations, might be from Allah Ta'ala, obviously from if trials come from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, or if calamities from the people around, अगर कुछ ऐसी मुसीबतें आ रही हैं तो उससे इंसान की resilience बढ़ती है. If in all the time we are we are able to face the things.
Jazakallah khairan, sister, for excellent remarks. Yes, I agree with you, sister. MashaAllah. Amazing. Thank you, sister.
Okay, another questions. Is Sister Kartini already rejoining us? If not, there's another question from Zainatul Firdaus, right? Please allow me to ask question to Brother Miri. I'm very interested in fitrah-centered psychology, both in theories and application, especially on frozen grief. Can you give us some more literatures and explanation on the fitrah-centered psychology? If there is any,
Jazakallah khairan for this excellent question. Also, it was a question about a man's search of meaning, right, Ustad Muhammad, with regards to Viktor Frankl, if I'm not mistaken. Viktor Frankl, I will answer both questions. Viktor Frankl is amazing. Viktor Frankl is an example of processed grief. And he was Jewish, by the way. He was anti-Zionist, by the way, as well. He was an anti-Zionist Jewish. So what Viktor Frankl, we can learn from the book that the sister was referring to, A Man's Search for Meaning. He found meaning in his grief when he was in Auschwitz, right? So essentially, the logotherapy modality is an amazing modality that he created. And logotherapy means, logo means in Latin meaning, right? Meaning making therapy. It's very Islamic. I recommend you all to read that book. It's an amazing book. And exactly what the sister said, it gives a lot of great explanation of how to deal with frozen grief, finding meaning, finding hope, right? Now, to the second question with the fitra-centric way, I recommend you guys to read a book of Dr. Yassin Ahmed from South Africa, one of the leading scholars in Islamic psychology. He has written a book called Fitra. It's called Fitra. And it's translated to English. He's written it in English. It's one of the best book on understanding the fitra. So a fitra-centric lens is to work to reconnect your client as a mental professional to fitra. Health is to be reconnected to fitra. And as the Prophet ﷺ says, everybody's born in the state of fitra. It's only the parents who make them into Christians and Majusis and Jewish, etc. So reconnecting to fitra is our natural disposition towards witnessing Allah, oneness of Allah, Tawheed. How do we reconnect? By different interventions, different ways of allowing people to do meaning making so that they reconnect to fitra as a way to understand the reality of the world. But this time, they are reconnecting mindfully. You see, brothers and sisters, I'm just going to briefly say this. When we are born in a state of fitra, we don't know that. We don't know that. Children do not know that they're in the state of fitra. They're just in it because they haven't experienced anything else. That's what I said in the lecture about duality. You need the dunya we experience as a way to understand that you're human. You are connected to the duality that I am something else, and I need to reconnect to fitra once more actively. But when you actively reconnect, then you will understand, this is fitra, because you've seen trials and tribulations as opposites to fitra. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when we reconnect to fitra, from a fitra-centric approach, then we're actually coming to a higher spiritual state and maqam. And there's different ways of reconnecting to fitra. One thing that I always try to recommend my own clients, but also brothers and sisters, is to be close to nature. When you're in nature, like in the wild nature, you're very much reconnected to fitra. When we're in the urban city with only skyscrapers and urbanized environments, we're quite distant from fitra. So fitra is to have a holistic life, right? To be close to Allah's creation as part of it, not dominating creation. So that's one way you can see it. Jazakallah khairan. Allahu alam. Please forgive me for any shortcomings.
All right. Thank you very much for the answer, Dr. Said Jamaluddin Miri. And then Sister Kartini, Dr. Kartini, are you with us? Okay. Regarding the questions following up from the sources of Islamic resilience to the Islamic religiosity. If not, maybe I'll pass the question later on to Dr. Kartini Tahir, and then hopefully she can answer it through email as well. Or there is also other sources of Islamic educational psychology that you can refer to. There are also a series of research on Islamic resilience, Islamic religiosity, and one of the variable of religiosity. You can go to our journal. It is nationally accredited, SINTA 2. It's called IJEP, International Journal of Islamic Educational Psychology. There are a lot of articles. And also, if you are all having research result, you can also send to our journal as well. All right.
Jamaluddin sir recommended 2 books actually that can anyone write in the chat about the 2 books which Jamaluddin sir quoted?
Yes, I can share it in the chat, sister. Yes, I will do.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, the book quoted by Jamaluddin Miri, later you can share with us as well, so we can distribute to our participants. All right. So also the question regarding Viktor Frankl already answered. He is Jewish. He is the what you call it, the former a victim of Auschwitz as well, but he can relive and then write down a beautiful book on the what was called the man's search for meaning. There is through logotherapy, there is a creative value, experiential value, and attitudinal value. We can learn about that more to Frankl, and also in comparison with the Islamic tradition as well later on. All right, I think this is time for us to wrap up our discussion. Thank you very much for your attendance, and we learned a lot from the beginning about the digital revolution, how it impacts our daily lives, from the personal in our motoric skills, our cognitive, our empathy. Of course, there are positive effects from the digital revolution, but also there are many challenges, many problems that inflicted by the digital revolution, including in mental realm, in challenges in education, religious education, as Pak Nurwanto explained earlier, but it also can help us in the awareness of ecology that presented by Dr. Chang earlier. And also we know in our educational situation, environment, Islamic sources like Al-Quran and Hadith also can be the source of resilience, how to adopt, how to face, to adjust to new environment in this digital era. And in the end, Professor Miri, our brother, esteemed brother, Jamaluddin Miri, explained in a very detailed way of the theology of suffering from theological perspective, quoting Ibn Farak, Ibn Taymiyyah, Al-Ghazali, regarding how we should perceive the evil. It is usually we measure evil from human's perspective. This is bad for us. But if we shift out the perspective to the whole perspective, from the perspective of God, this is actually better for us, because it's a way for us to get a more purified heart, to be more connected to our fitrah, connected to God, for us to be a better human being. Of course, we are facing turbulences, trials, right? But hopefully those trials, those turbulences not become frozen one, like experienced by Zionists, for example, that the oppressed become the oppressor because the grief is become frozen in their lives. But in Islamic historical experience, the frozen grief can be beneficial if we can process it well, right? If we take it as the trial from God, if it become reminder for us to reflect, because like the siege of Mongol become the means of da'wah later on. The Mongols become Muslims. The Mongols become the spreader of Islam to Hindustan, to Hindustan area, and to the broader area in Asia. And hopefully our discussion today can be our reflections, and also become our further inquiry for our following up research, hopefully. And hopefully we can also interact later on again in this kind of similar occasion, scientific interaction, exchange ideas and knowledge, inshallah, in the near future. Again, I would like to thank everybody for our speakers, Pak Nurwanto, Pak Jamaluddin Miri, Sister Kartini, Dr. Chang, Pak Muhammad Sofyan, and also our participants here. Please stay connected with us, stay in touch with us through
Actually,
our Instagram,
I want
through
to
our YouTube channel.
Actually, I want to especially
through
thank
our program. If you have any questions, yes.
I especially want to thank Jamaluddin sir and Kartini ma'am, because Kartini ma'am's research data, what
Yes.
she shared was very meaningful actually, and because I'll be using those data, because I'm a teacher also, Islamic psychology, Islamic in Islamic school, that data I'll be using while handling children. And the knowledge of fitra, what Jamaluddin sir shared me, That also I was teaching to my students, but more I will study with the book and then I'll again convey to them. Inshallah. Jazakallah khairan.
وإياكم جزاكم الله خيرا أيضا. So yeah, still connected with us. Yeah, thank you again to everybody. And I would like to express my sincere apology for my shortcomings, for any mistakes that I have conducted probably during leading this discussion session. And hopefully we can meet you again in the near future, inshallah. But for now, let's close our session by reciting Alhamdulillah together.
Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim.
Thank you very much.
Allah Hafiz. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
See you, inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Jazakallah khairan, everyone. Honored to be with y'all. Thank you, Ustad Muhammad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, brother Said Jamaluddin.
Thank you for inviting. Thank you, UMI. Thank you, all participants. Thank you, Sister Fitria.
Yeah, you are welcome, brother.
Jazakallah, sister. Honored to be with y'all. We'll
Often.
stay in touch.
Often.
Honored to be with y'all.
Ini apa nih? Orang tinggal scan aja.
Sukses semua.
Apa tadi saya coba tes.
Membludak kemarin kalau yang nasional tuh.
Oh,
Ini kan cuma 100 sekian. Kemarin itu dalam hitungan berapa menit langsung 100 aku.
ya banyak kali ya. Oke lah. Terima kasih.
Tutorial Pak.
Hadir dia Pak Kak Cutu.
Oh ada Kak Irma tuh ada
Kak.
katanya. Tadi chatnya. Oh, yang tadi di atas tuh belum Bapak masih Alfa Bapak kasih. Yang ini.
Sudah?
Iya. Ada di chatnya.
Ada. Yang kedua.
Udah Pak, hadirkan terus semua.
Oh,
Enggak, misalnya ya.
hadir kayaknya.
Hadir semua karena final Pak.
Hadir semua Pak.
Enggak, ada yang ada sama. Enggak, kalau di sini ada, jangan ada masalah. Jadi enggak ada nanti. Oke. Aman. Oh, internet form ada tadi ya. Ini ya. Kehadiran tadi kemana? Oh ya. Ini kan hadir ya.
Saya di scan kemarin.
Di scan.
Iya.
Sekarang ini mana? Menuliskannya apa ya?
Sini ya saya. Ini demikian. Bukan buka. Isi.
Saya udah masuk tadi kan?
Oh, udah bisa.
Udah 2 kali. Boleh ya.
Hamzah boleh masuk, Pak. Ada kendala tadi dia.
Siapa?
Ya Hamzah.
Masuk kan?
Masuk. Masuk.
Masuk.
Belum masuk, Pak.